Hello and welcome everyone to my YouTube channel. My name is Vishal Bhalla and today we are going to discuss about a very hot topic, the digital rupee. On 1st of February 2022, Honorable Finance Minister of India Nirmala Sitharaman in her budget speech announced that the Reserve Bank of India will soon issue a central bank digital currency called the digital rupee. Since then, curiosity as to what the digital rupee is has been increasing. Most of the information about this topic on YouTube or television is either inaccurate or incomplete or both. A lot of people are confusing it with cryptocurrency, which is totally inaccurate. I studied in great detail what is CBDC and its effects and wrote a blog about it on medium.com a month ago. I will share the link in the description box. In this video, we will understand what is digital rupee in a detailed and simplified manner. But more importantly and interestingly, we will understand how it can change the banking system forever. Firstly, let us understand what is the digital rupee. It is a central bank issued digital currency. In the CBDC universe, virtual currency will be held in digital wallets and money can be transferred by wallet holder to other people's digital wallets, somewhat like Apple Pay or PayPal. Users can scan barcodes on their phones to make payments or send money to other mobile wallets. Now, if it works just like Paytm or PayPal, then how is it different? And what are its benefits? We will study that in great detail in this video. But first, let me give you a brief about how it all began. All of this began in China, whose central bank has been running an experiment with CBDC, which it sees as the future, ultimately ending the need for paper money. The People's Bank of China will periodically receive copies of transactions. The Chinese pilot began with a distribution of 100 million digital yuan. Till now, over 500 million transactions have been recorded with over 140 million users. But China is not the only country experimenting with digital currency. Sweden, Singapore, and South Korea are among 13 countries testing pilots. Now, India has announced the digital rupee. The big question now is why is digital currency better than traditional paper currency? In today's currency, people open accounts with commercial banks and deposit money in it. Under digital currency, scenario is same as if a person has an account directly with the central bank, on which the central bank may give interest. This makes money of individuals and corporates much safer, because money with commercial banks has many risks, default by borrowers or liquidity risk, etc., all of which may affect the solvency of a bank and in turn be a risk to depositors' money. But in digital currency, depositor carries no risk because the central bank is ultimately backed by the government's ability to generate revenues. Also, in traditional banking, payments take an average of 1 to 3 days to settle, and card processing fees eats up a lot of retailing profit margins. It can cost a migrant worker in the US as much as $50 to just wire a few $100s home through a commercial bank. Transacting with CBDC does not require a bank account, which is a very important feature for developing countries, where a majority of the population lack access to banks and traditional finance, yet they do have access to mobile phones and the internet. It will make banking system much more efficient. We will discuss this in the next segment of our video, how CBDC or the digital rupee will change the banking system forever and completely. Now, hopefully you have a clear understanding of what is CBDC. So now let's begin with the most important and interesting part of our video, how it can change the banking system. A lot of money today has been deposited with commercial banks. Credit cards, debit cards, and banking apps have shifted a lot of traditional cash based transactions into digital space. Also, services like PayPal, Google Pay, etc., require you to link your bank account to their services. Traditional commercial banks have adjusted well to the digitization of money so far, but this might change soon. Firstly, let us quickly look at how banking system works till now. Traditionally, individuals or organizations deposit money in banks, which the bank then uses to give loans after setting aside a mandated portion. Banks make a profit on the difference between the interest they receive on loans given and the interest they pay to depositors. Under CBDC, since central bank will be the sole intermediary for all transactions, commercial banks would no longer compete for retail or business cash deposits, as everyone will have their money in digital wallets and no one would need to open a bank account and deposit money in it. So, since people would not deposit money with banks, banks would borrow wholesale from central bank and then lend further. The central bank therefore becomes the lender of the first rather than last resort. In such a scenario, the interbank competition will depend entirely on banks' ability to recognize and price good loans and to bridge the difference between short-term and long-term interest rates efficiently. There will also be entry of new players in the fintech because the reputation of banks as safe custodian of people's money will no longer be a barrier to entry, nor will their number of branches. The custodian of everyone's money and clearer of all transactions will be the central bank. An obvious risk with CBDC is the invasion of privacy. US lawmakers are worried that China will use digital yuan for domestic surveillance. CBDC will only be successful if they are open and private. Also, since commercial banks would need to borrow money from central bank to finance their lending activities, it could make commercial banks vulnerable to political pressure. Also, what would be the formula to calculate which bank qualifies for central bank funding and for how much? In my view, a shift towards no cash or low cash economies based on CBDC is inevitable. Most of the central banks are understandably moving slowly and steadily. It is very unlikely that there would be a digital dollar in 2022. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve of the United States, has said that it is more important for America to get it right than be first, which is appropriate considering that a central bank issued digital token is a radical shift in any country's economic system. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you got some value from this video. And always remember, it is not money or power or anything else. Only wisdom is glory.